Well, everybody, it finally happened. Because of your support over the last year, my music caught the ear of somebody working on a high-octane retro shooter. No, they aren't from id Software. I'm not quite at that skill level yet. Actually, I just accepted a role on the team of Viscerafest, and while I have said no to a couple of other game opportunities, this one was actually a perfect fit for me, and I'm going to tell you why. First, there's actually already some soundtrack that's been done by a fantastic composer named Markie. As you know, I've done a lot of YouTube content and other types of standalone content, but starting completely from zero on a game, even for somebody like me, would be challenging. Instead, for this project, I'm lucky enough to see how things have already sort of been done, and Markie will be still on the project in a less involved capacity, so I can learn from the best. So for this year, I'll be tackling the soundtrack parts for chapters 2 and 3, which is a lot of work, but I'm really excited. Second, some of you know that I am a sucker for really good game design, really good artwork, really good story, so when the lead developer, Noah, walked me through the game, I was hooked immediately.
So in Viscerafest, you play as a mercenary named Carolyn Page, hunting down a religious zealot named Chromium. The game's set across, starts in a space station. You end up going to a sort of somewhat post-apocalyptic Earth until eventually you go to a different dimension entirely. For various narrative-related reasons that I can't get into.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people view retro shooters as being these mindless kind of running gun type experiences, and there are certainly games in the genre that sort of fall under that label. But for me, what I always really enjoyed about the retro shooter genre was the interplay between resource management and target prioritization. And with Viscerafest, we really wanted to push those elements in particular to really elevate that stuff to the forefront in a way that most other shooters don't, even among the subgenre. And sort of that's been a lot of our core goals.
People have been saying some really nice things about it so far.
Probably one of my favorite soundtracks would be the original Quakes, done by 9 Inch Nails. I'm a really big fan of like ambient type stuff, and I really like how that music influences the mood of the game. I also really like, obviously the more modern Doom soundtracks. I love the original Blood soundtrack, the Marathon games, which were a big influence on Viscerafest. Well, they were early on anyways. Yeah. I do like more action-y melodic tracks, but I'm not actually a huge fan of like heavy metal and whatnot. I enjoy it in games, but generally speaking, like I don't go listening to 9 Inch Nails albums on the regular.
Because I've heard that before from other folks where like they like the intensity of the metal in game music, but like just metal as a standalone genre like just doesn't really do it for them. And a lot of it has to do with the vocal choice and also the types of feelings you get when you listen to that type of music versus the context of a game. Is that similar to Looking to the future of this game, still in early access, it's going to have an official release at some point. Between now and when that is, what can people expect to see from Viscerafest if they were to follow it?
I mean, a lot's about to change. We've got a lot of stuff that we're currently working on, fixing and updating. There's a lot, like the game's been in development for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, there's been a lot of growing pains. So there's a lot of stuff that we're currently going through the process of giving a bit of a modern facelift, just improving things. The entire first chapter is going to, at some point, be completely reworked in all the levels, or the layouts will be somewhat similar. Like you'll still be able to recognize which levels they are, but they're going to be looking a heck of a lot prettier. Yeah. There's a lot of quality of life features coming up. There's a lot of interesting tweaks and polish and mechanics and stuff that are getting updated, changed, and improved. All the stuff that happens with a work in progress game.
Yeah. It's funny actually because I don't know the story for real about the Barbie cover. Like, I don't actually know. I remember I got that tweet and I just thought it was funny. So like, how did you track that down?
Well, I've actually been watching your videos for probably about I almost want to say a year now. So we had been doing trailers with a third-party individual prior to Chapter 2's release, and I had not been super happy with the results. So as a result, I was like, hey, I'll just like edit the trailer myself. I have this new video editing program I bought. I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
Why not? So then what I ended up doing was I was like, I really like this song you did, and so I was like, yeah, I'll grab that. I'll grab that track and I'll edit a little test video to practice editing a trailer together, and then I liked it so much I threw it up on Twitter. I think people were asking me who made it, and I was like, yeah, I'll just tag you in it, which is how we ended up meeting.
Does somebody who buys early access get access to the full game for free, or do they have to buy
Oh,
it?
absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so basically what will happen is currently the game's like $15.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, if you buy the early access now, when the full game comes out, you won't have to pay anything extra. There won't be any strings attached. You'll just get access to the full game. And we're actually planning on doing a couple of big post-launch updates as well. We want to add like a fun New Game Plus mode that'll add a few extra enemies to the campaign and completely change enemy and item placements. And I think we're talking about a new weapon that's exclusive to New Game Plus. So just stuff to make playing through the game again a bit of a different experience. Yeah, the full game will end up being $20 at release, I think. But like if you buy it now, you'll get access to the full thing once it comes out.
Picking up the early access is kind of a win-win because it's cheaper for the full game if they were going to pick it up and try it anyway. And it also helps fund development to get the final thing out the door. Keeping in mind, like, this is under a publisher, but even publisher funding is like not a ton.
If you want a taste of what the soundtrack might be like, we got Markie's stuff, and he's got all his stuff put up on Bandcamp, so you can pick up the soundtrack there.
Yeah.
Let's get this bloodbath started.
As you can imagine, working on a game is going to force me to reprioritize my time, so here's what you can expect for the rest of the year. Yes, I will be finishing Fight Between Realms and the cover schedule that I posted at the beginning of the year, although I can't say for sure what the pacing of that's going to be because I need to sort of work around the soundtrack. That being said, I don't plan on just disappearing from YouTube. I'm actually going to continue to make videos during the development of Viscerafest, so what that means is you're going to see behind-the-scenes stuff and probably songs that I released during the year. And then every X number of weeks you'll see a cover or the Fight Between Realms stuff, so it'll all be mixed in together. And lastly, my patrons already know this, I'm going to be making some changes to my Patreon tiers. Because of the time needed to work on a game, there's just some things in there that aren't really realistic for me to deliver, so I have to adjust. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. I'm super excited to be working on Viscerafest. I hope you folks check out the early access, or, of course, wait till the game comes out and you can play the whole thing with my additions to the soundtrack. Okay, I'm gonna leave you with a gameplay trailer of Viscerafest. Take care.
I have resided over this plane for a time immemorial, safeguarding, maintaining the dream as you saw fit to create it. Is that not enough for you? Has the piping of my servitors grown stale? The ongoings of your vision so mundane that you would seek to destroy it.
Everything you know, everything you love will cease to exist. You're putting not only us, but the entirety of this universe at risk.